So my parents never lied to me, and they didn't even embellish anything. And I'm very grateful to that, because I knew what was going to happen. I knew we didn't know these people. They weren't related to us. I knew, however, that I was going to have a little brother or half-brother, whatever, step-brother. And they had a kitten, which we didn't have, and they had a garden. We lived in an apartment. So I was looking forward to it, and I was also sort of excited. And really, this, as I say, we found out in March or April, something like that. So July was a long way away, and I was a child. But I couldn't go to school anymore. So they didn't want us in school. I was in second grade. By then I was 8 in that July when we left. So 7 for the second year of school, which was normal, but I didn't finish second grade. So remind me to tell you a funny story later, because it's irrelevant. So I knew, and I was and my mother was buying new things for me, and new shoes and new clothes, and a little bit bigger so that, I could grow into them. And it was all quite exciting. I was a bit sad, but when July came, I had my 8th birthday, and we didn't live in Prague. We lived in Brno, and so we went to Prague, my mother and I, and my father was going to come in a week or something like that to be with me before I left, to be with us. And so that was a nice vacation in Prague, although we were not allowed to go swimming even on the public pools, but we would take a bus or something, or go outside of Prague, because we were Jewish, so they didn't want us anywhere. And there were stores. If I wanted ice cream, we had to choose a store where it didn't say Jews not welcome or Jews forbidden or whatever. So there were, and I knew all that. I understood. In fact, I used to go in first and second grade, the part of second grade that I didn't finish, that I did finish, I went to Hebrew school. And we had a very, very nice Hebrew teacher who was teaching us, in addition to some of the prayers or whatever, was teaching us modern Hebrew. And I liked him a lot. And first of all, suddenly I started seeing that some of the children, not many initially, were missing, and families were emigrating. And one day, walking in our town, in Brno, in the street, with my mother, there was my Hebrew teacher kneeling on the floor in the road where the cars were going, and trams and whatever, cleaning the road with a toothbrush. So they were, already torturing people, and I'll never forget that. In addition, one Friday evening, my father came home from synagogue. He didn't used to go to synagogue on Fridays. He would go on Saturday, but Friday evening he worked. And one day he came home. He went to synagogue, and he came home with a strange couple, a husband and wife. I didn't know them. My mother didn't know them. And they told us the following story. They had come from Vienna, and they had been through Kristallnacht, which had happened in November. They came to us after Hitler had already occupied my country, so it was after March of 1939. And Kristallnacht had been in November of 38, so 3 or 4 months in between. And my father invited them for dinner. And they were sitting in our dining room having dinner, and they told us the following story, that they had been at home during Kristallnacht. They didn't know, nobody called it Kristallnacht at that. They didn't know what it was, but this terrible pogrom that was happening, and people were breaking things and barging into houses, arresting and killing people. And so the Gestapo barged into their house, and the husband was having a bath. He was in the bathroom, so they kicked him out of the bath, and he just had a bath towel around him, and they kicked him down the stairs of the house, and his wife was already in bed. This was at night, and so they grabbed her out of bed, and she got up, went to the rooms of her children. They had 2 children, and took each child by the hand, and they kicked her down the steps. And as they were kicking her down, there were 2 shots, and each of the children, one on the right, one on the left, was shot dead on those steps. So the last time they ever saw the last sight of their little children they had was a pool of blood around each child. And I always say at this point that if I saw them now, this was in 1939, so it's, whatever it is, 80 odd years gone, past, and I still see them in my mind's eye. So, do you mind this? Yes, you do. No, come and sit here. Excuse me.
That's fine.
On. And I learned later, much later, that my father had been trying to help people get out of the country. So they had come from Vienna, where in Austria had already been, she'll stop in a, sorry, you can edit that, but she'll she'll be all right.
Oh, no, it's all right.
So, on. And I learned later, much later, that my father had been trying to help people get out of the country. So they had come from Vienna, where in Austria had already been, she'll stop in a, sorry, you can edit that, but she'll be all right.
Oh, no, it's all right.
So, all right.